What is going on, Patriots fans? This is Jace back with another edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Guys, we are one day out of the Patriots officially starting training camp. I'm going to come at you with three of my most important storylines to follow through training camp, position battles, things like that. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about the Brandon Aiyuk trade, things that were rumored there, and what we found out about the Patriots and maybe their aggressiveness and maybe how aggressive they'll be in the future. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Thank you to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. With Underdog, you have a chance to 20 times your money in a single night. You just have to choose higher or lower for whatever player stats you want, and you have a chance to win big. Pick anywhere from 2 to 5 players by downloading their app or going to UnderdogFantasy.com. And now with their pick-em insurance, you don't even have to hit on all your picks to win the money. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you use code PATCHDRIVE today for your first deposit matched up to $100. All right, let's jump right into probably the most important news. I guess not really important, but the biggest news for the Patriots in the last week. Evan Lazar tweeted that the Patriots actually offered pick 34 in the 2024 draft for Brandon Aiyuk. Now, obviously, that pick 34 was traded to the Chargers, and it turned into Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. The Patriots were also said that they were willing to pay Aiyuk an extension at roughly $28 million a year. When you go look at the highest paid receivers in the NFL, that's going to put him right around Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle type of money. Not going to be Justin Jefferson, not going to be A.J. Brown. When Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb get their extensions, it will be close to that $35 million a year. Patriots were willing to pay Brandon Aiyuk upwards of the $28 million a year mark. Now, you say, well, could the Patriots have done that? Well, yes, they could have. The Patriots, as of right now, still have $43 million in cap space. In 2025, they're going to have $84 million. So even if you take $30 million away from there, they still have $54 million to spend in the 2025 offseason to re-sign their players, whatever it is. I'm not saying that the Patriots are going to make this happen. Obviously, the pick has been gone, and they've said that they're not going to trade him to the Patriots. They told him that they weren't. He wasn't available in trade talks, and he's already said if he's going to play for two other teams other than the Niners, it's probably going to be the Steelers or the Commanders, which the Commanders make the most sense in my opinion. But this is a guy who would have been intriguing, right? Brandon Aiyuk had 19.4 yards per receptions in man coverage. That was third most amongst NFL receivers. He also led the NFL with 17.8 yards per receptions last season. So this is a guy that's had back-to-back 1,000-yard NFL seasons. What I think it should mean the most for Patriots fans is for the longest time, we've been asking for the Patriots to be aggressive, to go get that number one wide receiver. I don't know if Brandon Aiyuk is a top 8 wide receiver in the NFL, but he for sure would have been a number one wide receiver for the Patriots. Now, I love how the Patriots instead go out and take 2 guys instead of trading the pick, right? They get told no to Brandon Aiyuk. So what do? They go find Jalen Polk and they go find Javon Baker in the draft. And instead of getting one guy who they're going to pay $28 million to, they get 2 high upside rookies on the rookie contract. So I really like how they pivoted from that. But I thought that the Patriots at least offering it was interesting. Now, people could say, hey, well, what if the Patriots offer something like that this year? They very well could. I don't expect the Patriots to be picking as high as they did last year, but I don't think that it will be much further down than pick 10. I'm expecting them in the 8, 9, 10 range. So probably not going to trade a first-round pick for Aiyuk this year, expecting it to be there. You could trade another second-round pick or your second-round pick in 2025, but all of a sudden, hey, they didn't say yes to pick 34 in 2024. What makes them going to say yes to maybe pick 38, 39, 40 in 2025? So I think that Aiyuk thing's off the table. I would be very surprised if it happens, but I think that Elliott Wolf has, at least in Patriots fans' mind, he's been aggressive, right? He wanted to give money to Calvin Ridley. He wanted to go out and trade for Brandon Aiyuk. He's been aggressive. Now that leads me into my first position battle to watch because it's in the same room. It's the wide receivers, right? There was just a report that came out, and we kind of found out some information why Javon Baker didn't practice through OTAs. It was because that he suffered a thumb fracture earlier in the offseason, resulting him to miss minicamp and some of OTAs. He was recently seen catching passes today at practice, and photos posted by the team an indication the rookie has been cleared. So looks like we're going to get a lot more Javon Baker in training camp than we did OTAs. What I'm looking for
for the New England Patriots and the wide receiver battle is, one, can Jalen Polk live up to the expectations? He was so good and had so much hype throughout OTAs and minicamp. Can he continue to grow off of that? And can he legitimately be a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 for this team this season? Is he as good as what they've been saying he was? I think he can be. He's probably going to take up a lot of targets because I don't know how Kendrick Bourne's going to be. That's going to be something to watch for. The other thing is, can the Patriots keep 7 guys on this 53-man roster from the wide receiver room? Last season, they only take 6. I legitimately see a spot for 7. I think that there could be Kendrick Bourne. I think there could be Javon Baker. I think that there could be Demario Douglas, obviously, Jalen Polk, KJ Osborne. You might have a chance of Juju Smith-Schuster, depending on how he continues to play. And could Kayshon Boutte continue to push for one? He's been a guy that has been cleared of all his off-the-field issues, and he's someone who has such high upside. He was once thought of as a first-round draft pick. Can he live up to those? Because he might have the highest ceiling in the receiver room amongst anyone on this roster. He has such high potential if he can reach it. So the receiver is a big one to watch for me, right? Obviously for Jacoby Brissett, but how are the young guys, Pop Douglas, even going into year 2, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, are they progressing for Drake May whenever he's ready to play, whether it's week 8, week 10, week 15, week 1 of 2025? We'll see. So I'm looking forward to the position battle there, seeing who continues to stand out, because it sounds like there's been a lot of hype around those guys. So excited for that. Second one I'm looking at, one of the most important ones throughout all of training camp, in my opinion. What is the offensive line combination? Guys, if the offensive line combination can't stay healthy or they can't figure it out for most of the season, I don't know why the Patriots would ever throw Drake May out there. You'd be throwing him to the Wolves. Patriots haven't had a solid O-line combination for 2 years. I get it. They had moved Michael Onwenu into right guard a couple of times in OTAs. For me, if you move Onwenu into guard, all of a sudden now you already have a shaky left tackle position. And who are you going to play at right tackle? Is it going to be Caden Wallace, or is it going to be Chuks Okorafor? Well, whoever you don't play at right tackle probably has to play at left tackle. So I think Onwenu has to stay at right tackle. I think that Sidy Sal is going to go back to left guard, which is where he played most of his college career at. It will be interesting to see whether it's Layden Robinson or Nick Levert or Antonio Mafi at right guard. David Andrews probably at center. And then the biggest one is, what's the left tackle spot? They moved Caden Wallace there a little bit. He went back to right tackle through minicamp and OTAs. What's the answer to left tackle? So what I'm looking for is, what's the most used combinations? And I'm really interested to see if they're moving guys around. In my opinion, I don't think they have the luxury of moving guys around so much in training camp. They need to find a number 1 offensive line combination, and they need to rep that, because most guys on this team don't have many reps together, if any at all. So there's not much chemistry along the offensive line. So I think they need to find what that is quick in training camp, distinguish who's going to be where, and kind of force feed them those reps, no matter who they are at what position, because this offensive line is probably the biggest question mark going into the season for me. And if they don't figure it out, it can be really scary for Ramondre Stevenson, who's dealt with injury issues, Jacoby Brissett, who is a veteran guy and not very, I mean, he's mobile, but he's not the most mobile guy. So you don't want to let him get teed off on. And then obviously if you throw Drake May out there, you don't want him to just be thrown to the Wolves, kind of like Mac Jones was with that offensive line issue. So offensive line is probably the biggest one for me. Third and final one comes on the defensive side. We've all heard about the Matt Judon news, what the contract's going to be if he holds out, or, if he doesn't re-sign with the Patriots, who knows? It stems from that room, right? Patriots made a huge extension for Christian Barmore, which I love. He's going to be a force on the interior for years to come. But if Matt Judon does leave in the offseason, have we seen enough from Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings, Keon White, Dietrich Wise? Have we seen enough from those guys to feel confident in replacing him? Or does that all of a sudden become a big need in free agency? Or does that become a big need in the draft? So for me, I'm looking first off at Keon White. Can Keon White live up to the second-round pick that he once was? He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can play on all 3 downs, rush the passer. Josh Uche, I'm interested to see if he can bounce back to his 2022 form. I do think that he struggled a little last year, because without a Matt Judon on the other side that's taking a double team and demanding all the attention, it's a little bit harder. I don't know if Josh Uche is quite ready to be a 15-sack guy on his own and be the number 1 guy. If you have Matt Judon on the opposite side of him, I think he's a 10+ sack guy every year, because he is that explosive and his bend is that good. But can Keon White, Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings was a guy that signed for 3 years, so he's going to be here. He showed some pass rush production. Can those guys consistently replace Matt Judon, and can all 3 of those guys bring what Matt Judon does. You're probably not going to replace Matt Judon just with one person. It's really hard unless you go make a huge free agent signing or you hit golden, the first round of the draft, you find a generational pass rusher and you don't address another need in the first round. So can you find a way to replace Judon with Keon White and Josh Uche, or Anthony Jennings and Keon White, because Uche is only on the 1 year deal? So defensive ends would be a big spot for me. Outside linebackers, however you want to say it. That would be a question mark for me, because I don't know. Matt Judon on the last year of his deal, probably wanting 15 plus million a year. Personally, with how much cap space the Patriots have, I would give it to him. I'd give him a 2 year, $30 million deal, 15 million a year. No problem. Let him retire here. I still think he has good football in front of him, but we don't know what the Patriots are going to do. So that will be interesting to see how they handle that whole Matt Judon situation. And hopefully, obviously, he comes back from injury 100%, contributes, because when he's on the field, he's a difference maker. He's you got to know where he's at as an offense, and he's a leader on the field, a veteran guy that's been both with the Patriots and around the NFL, playing a lot of big time games. So those are the 3 position battles that I look for in the in the training camp. Drake May, yes. I just don't think he's going to start week 1. I know there's been rumors that he's going to. I'm just continuously watching him throughout, the season. What's his progression, right? Right? I think they're going to keep him at the 2s. He's going to be throwing a ton of team reps with probably some of the young receivers also. So I'm excited to see him progress. I just don't think it's a big enough story right now that he's really going to beat out Jacoby Brissett, just because they got to get a lot of other positions right. They got to make sure the receivers, like I mentioned, Jalen Polk, Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, Javon Baker, they got to make sure that those young guys are capable to be NFL receivers. And they got to figure out, in my opinion, the biggest question, the offensive line issues. So I don't think that that's the one that we should be looking at right away. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on Drake May. Everyone's going to want to watch him. I think he's going to perform. He's going to be great. I just don't think he's going to win the starting job right away. So I could eat my words. Maybe I do. Hopefully he's fantastic and he has a CJ Stroud type season. But make sure you guys let me know your biggest concerns for the Patriots positional wise, what battles you're looking for. And of course, let me know down below your thoughts on what the Patriots offered for Brandon Aiyuk. Would you have done that? Would you have given him the $28 million a year? Should the Patriots maybe make a deal for someone else? T. Higgins? Should they try to sign someone in free agency? Let me know your thoughts on the whole wide receiver 1 debate, because honestly, if Jalen Polk keeps living up to the hype that he had through camp and all the stuff he's been saying off the field where he's like, hey, I'm going to be an all-pro, I'm going to win a Super Bowl, this and that, maybe we just found our wide receiver 1 in the pick that we would have given up for Brandon Aiyuk. So let me know your thoughts below. Super excited to bring you guys live content all the time through training camp and the season. So make sure you guys are subscribed, hit that like button, and of course, use code PATCHDRIVE at Underdog Fantasy to get your first deposit matched up to $100. Appreciate all the support. Until next time, guys, we'll talk to you later.